Ancient gods or ancient aliens? What if everything you were taught about the gods of the ancient world was wrong? Not slightly wrong, completely, fundamentally, shockingly wrong. In 2023, the United States government did something it had never done in its entire history. It sat before Congress and admitted under oath that non-human intelligences have been operating in our skies, and possibly on our planet, for longer than we can measure. But here's the part nobody is talking about. That testimony didn't just change how we see the present. It ripped open a door into the ancient past, and what's standing on the other side of that door might just be the oldest secret in human history. For thousands of years, civilizations that never once crossed paths built the same thing. Temples aligned to the stars with mathematical precision that modern engineers still struggle to replicate. They worshiped beings they described in nearly identical terms: beings of light, beings who descended from the sky, beings who gave them language, agriculture, medicine, and law. The Sumerians called them the Anunnaki. The Egyptians called them the Neteru. The Hindus described the Vimanas, flying chariots of the gods, in texts so detailed, so technical, that aerospace scholars have quietly studied them for decades. We called it mythology. We called it superstition. But what if ancient man was simply doing what any witness would do, describing exactly what he saw? In July 2023, decorated military intelligence officer David Grush testified before the U.S. House Oversight Committee. He didn't just suggest that UFOs were real. He stated under penalty of perjury that the U.S. government has been recovering non-human craft and non-human biological material for decades. The room went silent. The world barely reacted. But historians and archaeologists who have spent their careers standing at the margins of the mainstream were paying very close attention. Because here's what they already knew, what the textbooks refused to say. The ancient Sumerians, writing on clay tablets over 5,000 years ago, described their gods arriving in fiery craft from a distant world they called Nibiru. They didn't use poetry. They used measurements, coordinates, orbital cycles. This was not worship. This reads like a field report. Then there is the question of the Nazca lines in Peru. Carved into the desert floor of South America, lines so vast, so geometrically perfect, they are only fully visible from the air. Let that land for a moment. A civilization with no aircraft, no satellite, no drone spent centuries carving images that only make sense when viewed from the sky. For whom? For what? And why do those same ancient Peruvians describe their creators, their gods, as beings who came down from above and promised to return? When the Pentagon's UAP office confirmed in 2024 that multiple non-human aerial phenomena operate in ways that defy known physics, no propulsion, no wings, no heat signature, it wasn't science fiction. It was the Vimana texts suddenly sounding a great deal less mythological. The Dogon tribe of West Africa presents perhaps the most unsettling piece of this puzzle. Isolated for centuries, no telescopes, no contact with the modern world. And yet their oral traditions contain precise astronomical knowledge about Sirius B, a star invisible to the naked eye, only confirmed by Western science in 1970. The Dogon said they received this knowledge from visitors, beings who came from the Sirius system, beings they called the Namo. Who were the Nam? The Dogon described them as amphibious, intelligent, and deeply concerned with the fate of humanity. Scientists have never explained this away. They've simply stopped trying to. And when they did try, the answer they kept arriving at was more disturbing than the mystery itself. Because the more you look, the more you find a pattern, not coincidence. A pattern, the same stories, the same descriptions, the same skyborn creators from Mesopotamia to Mesoamerica, from Egypt to Easter Island. Every ancient culture, separated by oceans and centuries, looked upward and said the same thing: they came from up there, they built with us, and one day they will come back. The 2025 UAP Disclosure Act, currently moving through U.S. Congress, has government insiders warning that what will be revealed is not simply advanced technology, but evidence of a presence that has been here, monitoring humanity for an incomprehensible amount of time. Here is where the story changes, because the most explosive theory isn't that aliens visited ancient man and left, it is that they never left at all. Declassified military documents, including the now famous AARO historical record released in 2024, contain references to recovered materials with isotopic ratios that do not match anything found in our solar system. Non-terrestrial, non-human, ancient, the objects aren't just advanced. Some appear to be extraordinarily old. If a civilization capable of interstellar travel arrived thousands of years ago, the same moment human civilization inexplicably exploded from Stone Age tribal life into engineering, astronomy, and written law, the logical next question is not whether they came. It is whether the gods of the ancient world weren't worshipped because they were supernatural. They were worshipped because they were real. Every sacred text, every pyramid alignment, every impossible megalithic structure might not be a monument to imagination. It may be a monument to memory. Ancient man watched beings of extraordinary capability walk among them. He did what any culture would do. He remembered. He carved it in stone. He built temples to face the stars those beings came from. He recorded their instructions, their warnings, their promises of return. And what those ancient witnesses described, craft of fire and light, beings of superior intelligence, interventions in human development, maps with unsettling precision onto what UAP whistleblowers are describing today. Not similar, identical. The question was never gods or aliens. That is the wrong question. The question is, what if they are the same thing? What if religion itself is the oldest record of contact humanity possesses? The US government is no longer saying there is nothing out there. It is now a matter of officially acknowledged record that something non-human has been here. The only thing left to argue is how long. And if you go back far enough, back to Sumer, back to Egypt, back to the Vedic scriptures and the Dogon tribes and the Nazca desert, the answer the ancients already gave us is the one that should terrify and astonish us in equal measure. They didn't just come, they introduced themselves. We built temples to honor them, and we called them gods.